back to the channel. It's the first upload in a few days. But what we're talking about today is the reason why I've been gone. That's because I made the 700 plus mile road trip, about a 15-hour drive, not all in one day. But we made a whole trip out of it, and it was all because I'm trying to visit all MLB stadiums, and what we started off was with, well, not started with, but what our next adventure was, it was to Truist Park in Atlanta, home of the Atlanta Braves. You can see, got the City Connect hat. That's a must for every stadium. But today I'm going to give you my honest review, coming from a Cubs fan, so no bias, biasm, whatever the word is, will be involved here. Now, let's start with my just flat-out star ranking. Out of 10 stars, I'll give it an 8.5. And now I'm going to go over the reasons. And here's what I want to start with. I'm going to start with, kind of go in chronological order here. We're going to start with the Battery. That's the whole area outside of the stadium. Now, we were staying at the Hampton Inn, which is about 5 or 6 blocks away from Truist Park. And so we start there, right off the interstate, which is always a good location. Now, when we're walking to the stadium, I noticed there's plenty of parking garages. It seemed like there's enough space to park. And I'll get more to that in a little bit. But we went down and hung at the Battery the day before the game we were actually going to, and it's really nice. It's really cool. They got a little turf area outside for just to hang out. They got a screen there where you can watch the game. They have this whole pep band and everything to come out before the game and perform and do pump-up shows and everything. It's just hundreds, well, I don't know how big acres are. I'll say hundreds of acres, just a guess, of bars, restaurants. One place in particular was Bally Live, I think it was called. Ton of screens and everything. Golf simulator, ping pong, Pop-A-Shot, everything. Now, that place was hard to get into before the game, which is what you'd expect. They had like 5 different bars. It was huge. It was awesome. It was right in that hub. They have this area with like fountains for kids to play in, with a baseball-shaped screen at the top with steps to sit on where you can watch the game if you're not in the game and hang out before the game. They do the Bally pregame and postgame show out there. Around the corner, a ton of stores, Baseballism, all that good stuff. Baseballism is a really cool baseball store if you have not heard of it. The social club we went to, forget the name, we were able to play bags, got about 45 minutes, 3 games in, and it was only $5, so good pricing there. They got a few bowling alley lanes in there. They have this place that's a Top Golf and simulators. So there's so much to do before and after the game out there. The only issue I found was after the game in the Battery. Not only is there just lines and lines to get in everywhere, which is expected, but there is also just an insane amount of traffic because all of the cars from all of the parking garages have to go in the same exact spot. Now, luckily, we could just walk from our hotel. Did not have to walk. But I did find a lot of the traffic would be frustrating if we did have to drive. But more outside the stadium, aside from the parking, which luckily we did not have to park, as I said, which was good. Outside, you can walk all the way around the stadium, even around back. It was a beautiful night, not only the night of the game, but the night before the game when we were hanging outside. They got the Omni Hotel right there, $1,000+ to stay on game day. Don't recommend it. But it's a cool thing, and you can walk all the way around that as it's connected to the stadium. But you can walk out back on a road out there, and I don't know how to describe it, but it gives you another good view of the stadium. There's also, out by the first and third base gate, plenty of good spots to get pictures in front of that big Truist Park logo, and it looks like they're adding to the Battery more back there, which will be interesting to see how that all unfolds. But all the way around the stadium, everything is really nice, really well maintained. Now let's get to the actual game, and this, I think the Battery, it's busy, which as I said is expected. So I think that drops it down a star, but not because of the busyness. I think they controlled lines and everything nicely, but it just seemed like they tried to jam everything in to just one small area, which isn't always the worst thing, but it's also not the best thing ever. And if I had to park and wait in all that traffic, then this review might be a lot worse. But inside the stadium, built in 2017, it's a 10 out of 10. 4 deck levels, which I think every stadium should have. You see plenty of stadiums with a nice, even first deck, but then a really steep second deck. Guaranteed Rate in Chicago has the steepest second deck, and I sat high up there once and did not enjoy it. But we were sitting in the 300 level here out of the 4 levels at Truist Park. Not steep at all. There were about 10 rows, which was really nice, where you didn't feel like you were in a big upper deck. And really the biggest upper deck was the last one, and that still only had 15, 20 rows. So I think that helps a lot of people who are kind of scared going up in upper decks and going up heights. And so that was very nice. The concourse, I wouldn't call it wide, but the way that they had all the concession lines and everything, it was not overcrowded at all. And that was really nice. So you come in, we went in the third base gate. The outfield gates are always the busiest, so I recommend going in the first and third base gates. But you walk in, go down this set of stairs, or go up an escalator, whether you're on the 100 level or the 200, 300, 400 level. All easy to navigate, plenty of concession options, and this was definitely the highlight. When I go to baseball games, especially MLB games, with the prices nowadays, I very rarely get anything other than a hot dog or a burger or something. But in Atlanta, it was tempting not to, because not only were the prices nice and fair, but they had so many food options. I thought Great American Ballpark in Cincinnati, when I went earlier this year, had a lot of food options. But they also kind of had just like one of these, one of that, and then just a ton of stands with your regular ballpark food. Atlanta had a ton of stands with all this crazy food, while also having a few nice stands with just your regular burger and hot dog. Now, I got, before the game started, buffalo fries. And they had blue cheese, buffalo sauce on fries. So that was really good. It was really hot. I couldn't even finish the whole thing. Very spicy. But later in the game, I had to try a burger because these burger stands looked great. And it was called H&F Burger, I believe. Claimed to be the best burger in the world. I wouldn't call it best burger in the world, but it was still really good. And plenty of options. Everything went well for Atlanta. And everything went well for the Braves in that game. Marcelo Ozuna, 3-run homer in the first inning. Ronald Acuna Jr., a 2-run homer later on. So everything was just extremely nice. And a good game to go along with it. So I think that pretty much wraps it up. 8.5, 9 stars for me for Truist Park. I'm interested to see the expansion of the Battery, what that does, and I look forward to hopefully visiting Truist Park again someday. So way to go, Braves. Way to go, Truist Park. I think you have my new favorite MLB stadium. Behind, of course, Wrigley Field. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, everybody. Once again, we will see you in the next one. Bye.